Bill Keller only stood about 5'10", but that didn't stop him from being an effective player. After leading his high school to the state championship as a senior, he committed to Purdue. He and Herm Gilliam formed a nice duo, but when Rick Mount arrived on campus, Bill took a back seat, but he was still instrumental in helping his team reach the national championship game in 1969. After being selected in the 7th round of the NBA draft, he chose to stay in his home state, playing for the Indiana Pacers. Bill had a strong frame and he was extremely quick with a tight handle. You never had to question his energy as he gave 100% every time he played. His best attribute was his shooting, especially from deep, as he could pull up in transition or spot up, becoming one of the top 3-point marksmen in ABA history, as he's second all-time in 3-pointers behind Louie Dampier. He was never a permanent starter, but he was a valuable piece for a Pacers team that won 3 titles. Bill retired before the merger, and he would continue to give back to his community, jumping into the coaching ranks and hosting several shooting camps for the youth. Bill Keller wasn't a star, but he knew his role and he played it well, as his elite 3-point shooting made him so valuable. Welcome to PC Hoops, and this is another episode of ABA Tales. Bill was born on August 30th, 1947 in Indianapolis. He played his high school ball at George Washington. He led his team to 4 straight city titles, even making the state championship game as a senior. After he was named Indiana's Mr. Basketball, it was only right that he stayed home, committing to Purdue. He joined another great sophomore in Herm Gilliam, and while they had a great offense, they couldn't guard anybody, so their 15-9 record was nowhere near enough for a tournament berth. Bill was 6th in true shooting percentage and 12th in free throws, averaging 13 points and 3.5 rebounds. The Boilermakers landed the best high school player in Indiana last year in Rick Mount. Bill and Herm had to adjust their play styles, as Rick would be taking most of the shots. Purdue continued to have a porous defense, and it cost them a lot of games, as they finished with a 15-9 record yet again. Bill averaged 16 points and 4.5 rebounds on 50% shooting. Bill's senior year would be one of the best in Purdue history, as now they had the best offense in the country, so their lack of defense didn't really matter. They had a 4-game, a 6-game, and a 7-game winning streak to finish the season 18-4. Their 13-1 record in the Big Ten earned them a regular season crown in their first tournament appearance in program history. Bill won the Francis Pomeroy Naismith Award, which recognizes the best player in the country under 6 feet, as he averaged 13 points and 4.5 rebounds. First tournament game against Miami of Ohio was an easy win, as Bill dropped 19 points and 6 rebounds. He had 17 points and 2 rebounds against Marquette, but he fouled out. Rick hit the game-winning shot to send Purdue to the Final Four. He put up 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists against UNC, as Purdue blew them out to punch their ticket to the national championship, facing Kareem and the UCLA Bruins. But their defense was suffocating, as Purdue shot 29% as a team, getting blown out by 20. Bill was drafted in the 7th round of the 1969 NBA draft by the Bucks, but he decided to play with the Pacers. They already had 3 MVP-level players in Roger Brown, Bob Nedelicki, and Mel Daniels. He would start his career as the backup shooting guard behind John Barnhill. On November 18th against Denver, he dropped 28 points and 3 rebounds on 11 of 16 shooting. He showed his elite long-range shooting, making 5 of his 8 3-pointers against the Pipers on December 20th. He had a season-high 33 points, 7 rebounds, and 11 assists on January 8th against Kentucky. Bill was 13th in 3-pointers made with 42, as the Pacers had 5 double-digit scores, finishing with an elite 59-25 record. Bill averaged 9 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. The Pacers faced the Cougars in the semifinals, as Bill had a modest role in an easy sweep. He got a lot more minutes in the division finals against Kentucky, and he put up solid numbers in the gentleman's sweep as Indiana made the ABA finals, facing the LA Stars. Bill had back-to-back 20-point games in this series, as Indiana was able to win Game 6 on the road to secure the title. Bill was joined by his college teammate Rick Mount in 1970, and he really upped his production after being named the starter, dropping 32 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists with 4 threes on the 3rd game of the season, and 30 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists 2 games later. He put up his only career triple-double on February 12th against Pittsburgh, with 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 13 assists. He was 5th in 3-pointers made, 6th in 3-point percentage, 5th in 3-throw percentage, and 8th in assists. Mel Daniels won the MVP as Indiana continued to be dominant on both sides of the ball, finishing 58-26. In his career year, Bill averaged 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. He really started to take a lot more threes this postseason, and he was hitting them with great accuracy. He played well in the semifinals against the pros, as although 3 of the 4 games were within 2 points, Indiana won this series in a sweep. He made 10 threes in the first 2 games of the division finals against the now Utah Stars. Bill played the best basketball of his career in games 4 through 7, averaging 26 points, 4 rebounds, and 5.5 assists, shooting 49% from the field and 37% from 3. But Indiana would lose Game 7 at home. The Pacers got even better in 1971 when they signed George McGinnis and Darnell Hillman. Bill was a reserve again this season, making 4 out of his 5 threes on December 17th against Memphis, followed by a 19-point, 12-assist double-double on Christmas. Bill was 20th in total assists, 9th in three-pointers made, 6th in three-point percentage, and 2nd in free-throw percentage. The Pacers had 6 double-digit scores as they finished 47 and 37. Bill averaged 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. In the semifinals against Denver, he dropped 31 points in Game 2 and 25 points in Game 5, as Indiana won a nail-biter in Game 7. The Utah Stars brought another intense matchup, as Bill's best performance was in Game 5, dropping 24 points, 4 rebounds, and 11 assists, shooting 5 of 8 from 3. The Pacers won another close Game 7, earning another finals appearance, faced the New York Nets. This series was tied after 4 games, but Bill really caught fire in Game 5, putting up 22 points, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists, making 4 of his 7 threes. He had another solid performance in Game 6, as Indiana went on the road to give Bill his second ABA title. The Pacers added Donnie Freeman and Don Buzzi in 1972. As Billy continued to play his role, he would put on a shooting clinic this year. He was averaging about 10 points in the first 2 months, but he was shooting 35% from 3 and 93% from the foul line. He put up a career-high 38 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists, making 6 threes on January 16th against Denver. He was 13th in assists, 9th in three-point percentage, 1st in three-pointers made, and 1st in free-throw percentage. George McGinnis had a breakout sophomore year, as Roger Brown was on the decline, but their 51-33 record was still great. Bill averaged 14 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 4.5 assists, as he dropped 21 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in Game 3 of a gentleman's sweep of Denver in the semifinals. The Utah Stars met them again in the division finals, as Bill dropped 19 in Game 4 and 15 in Game 6, helping Indiana make the finals again, facing the Colonels. Bill really didn't play well in the finals, shooting 32% from the field and less than 10% from 3, but the Pacers were able to win Game 7, giving Bill his 3rd title. The Pacers were looking to three-peat in 1973, as Bill would play his smallest role since his rookie season. He still had 9 20-point games, with his best performance being on November 23rd against Kentucky with 28 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists. He was 6th in three-pointers made, while having the 2nd best three-point percentage in the league. Indiana essentially became the George McGinnis show, as he took a lion's share of the shots on offense. Their defense was still passable, so they still made the postseason with a 46-38 record. Bill averaged 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 2.5 assists. He was unconscious in Game 2 of the semifinals against the Spurs, dropping 39 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 9 of 13 from 3, an ABA playoff record. He scored in double figures 2 more times in this series, as the Pacers won Game 7 to advance. The Utah Stars were a much more complete team in the division finals, especially on defense, as Bill was held to 33% shooting and 22% from 3 in a 5-game series loss. Mel Daniels was no longer a Pacer in 1974, so Darnell Hillman was the new starting center. They still added some more talent, signing Billy Knight and Len Elmore. Bill would get some more minutes this year, and he was still one of the most underrated role players in the league. He dropped 30 points on 11 of 19 shooting in the 5th game of the season, while having a 5-game stretch in December averaging 25 points on 58% shooting and 50% from 3. He was 6th in three-point percentage, while he led the league in three-pointers made again. Indiana was actually the best three-point shooting team in the league, as 3 other players were in the top 10 for accuracy. The Pacers traded their defensive identity for a fast-paced, high-octane offense, as George, the MVP, led them to a 45-39 record. Bill averaged 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. He only scored double figures once in the semifinals against the Spurs, but he made 5 out of his 6 threes as Indiana won in a gentleman's sweep. He really showed up in the division finals against Denver with a 22-point Game 1, a 21-point Game 2, and a 23-point Game 7 to help Indiana make the finals again. They faced the Colonels again, but Kentucky was really locked in this year, holding Bill to just 27% shooting and 12% from 3, as the Colonels easily won in 5 games. Despite the loss, Bill set yet another playoff record, going 30 for 30 from the foul line in the postseason. George left for the NBA in 1975, so the Pacers' rotation was shaken up a bit. They still added a lot of talent, signing Bo Lamar, who had 2 20-point seasons in San Diego, Travis Grant, a former All-Star, and Dan Roundfield, someone who would become an NBA All-Star. Bill started his most games since his sophomore season, and since he knew the NBA was about to end, he began to really hoist up the threes. He was averaging 19 points on 38% from 3 to start the season. His season high was on November 19th against Utah, with 33 points, 7 rebounds, and 10 assists. Bill had 11 games with at least 4 three-pointers made. He was the top three-point shooter in the league, while the 3rd most accurate. Billy Knight had the best season of his career, while Don led the league in assists and set the all-time record for steals. Even with all this young talent, the Pacers were an average team, finishing 39-45, their first losing record since 1967. Bill averaged 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. Since the ABA was down to just 7 teams in the playoffs, Indiana faced Kentucky in the first round series. Bill went scoreless in Game 1, but he dropped 18 points and 3 assists in the Game 2 win. He got the start in Game 3, but he went scoreless again as Indiana lost the game and the series. Bill would retire before the merger, before coming back to play 8 games for the Kentucky Stallions of the All-American Basketball Alliance. Then he went into coaching, becoming an assistant at his alma mater, leading them to a Final Four appearance in 1980. After this, he went on to coach the University of Indianapolis. Bill was inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame in 1992, and he still continues to hold basketball camps for the youth in his home state. Bill Keller was a player that made the most out of his abilities. He was never going to be a star in the league, but he was a star in his role. He loved to set up the offense and get his teammates involved. He provided 110% effort on defense, and he was a hustler. His shooting really set him apart though, as he could easily pull it from deep off the dribble, or he could move without the ball and get himself open for a catch and shoot 3. Billy is second all time behind Louie Dampier for career 3-pointers made, and he's the 7th most accurate long-range shooter in ABA history. Bill used his high basketball IQ to become a key piece to 3 championships in his home state, and he deserves to be recognized as an Indiana legend. Man, thank you guys for watching the video. I really appreciate y'all. Like, I just saw a random video of his highlights on YouTube. He's coming down from transition, just pulling up from 3 and hitting it. I'm like, whoa, he's a crazy shooter. And the wild part, his middle name is Curry, so that's even more poetic. He was such a great role player, man. You know, I always talk about the all-time team guys, but the role players got to get respect too, you know, because there was a lot of great players that were great in their role. You know, everyone's not going to be a star. He was just a great all-around player. You know, he really made the most out of being 5'10". He basically stayed in Indiana his whole basketball career, which is nice. Shout out to Bill Keller, man. But thank you for watching. I really appreciate y'all guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn my post notifications on if you haven't already. Thank you. Please be safe. Stay on the grind. I'm out. Peace.